whose civil rights movement? Who profited? Who gained? Okay, and in that, I would say it really wasn't our movement. This was basically a Jewish movement. We were fighting a freedom movement. The Jews were fighting a civil rights movement because they already had freedom, but they didn't have civil rights in much of the southern part of the country, just like we didn't. So it behooved them to put money up and finance and even loan some lives if they had to help us break the back of the South so that they, with an overeducated population in the Northeast, could expand into the rest of the country. And they were very successful at doing that. But to keep us from profiting from what we had done, they created two simultaneous movements, one, the gay movement and the women's movement, and then began to identify themselves as us by switching our name from Negro or Black to minority, and then classifying these other elements as minority, who was entitled to the same privileges and rights that the Black folks who had just fought this massive decades-long battle and died and so forth. Now everything that we had won, we have to share with these people who were always being given advantages over us. And that really hit a blow, but it went further than that. They began to vie for the spaces we had gained in institutions. And so like, well, if you're gonna have a Black studies department, then we want a women's studies department. If you're gonna bring equality for Blacks in the institution, you gotta bring equality for women, which were then mostly white women, and for gays, which was at that point mostly white gay men and women. It really fractured the victory. So that when the so-called Civil Rights Bill was passed, where the concept of affirmative action is involved, the people taking advantage of affirmative action were white women. And when you lump in white Latinos and other non-white immigrants, Black folks may be the ones who are getting maybe 10 to 15% of the affirmative action gains, even though we fought almost 100% for it. But while at the same time accusing us, even though the majority of food stamp goes to white families, the majority of welfare goes to white families, we're constantly being called the welfare hustlers, the welfare pimp, but they're the ones hustling welfare. They're the ones hustling food stamps because they have other opportunities that we don't have. They use welfare, which everybody in the country was getting. And that was money you put into the government. The government don't have any source of money except tax revenue. So that's the tax money out of your paycheck that they said, if you get into trouble, we're gonna save this money for you and this will help you survive till you get out of trouble and get back to work. But when it came to Black people, they're saying, when you get into trouble, we'll give you this money, but you gotta break up the family. You can't be with your man. They didn't do that to white people. Okay. So they'd come into your house and see if there's any men's clothing there. Otherwise, they'll take you off the welfare. So if you're gonna take care of you and your children, it's to your advantage to help them, meaning the sister at this time, enforce as much as you cannot help yourself the dissolution of your family, just to eat. And after 40 to 50 years of that, much destruction was done to our family and our community. So by the 80s, when they attacked us with the crack attack, they realized we gotta go back after that foundation block. You gotta injure the family at the foundation level. But we survive even that. What we have to do, what the disruption in the socialization process has done, is not given us an opportunity to look at an African socializing model. We've only had the European socializing model to look at. It's fractured, it's broken, it's never been a whole. And what we're doing with this history and the study of history, restoration of memory, is trying to come up with an African socializing model and have models and examples that we can replicate that will lead to the harmony and the balance that we're looking for.
And yo, with that brother right there speaking nothing but pure facts. Go back and check out my earlier post I made about Rabbi Finkelstein. Go back, check it out. He admitted it. He admitted it that they created and backed the women-led movement and the gay rights movement to underwrite the civil rights movement, to undermine it, to diminish it. Okay? like you said, to make everyone a minority and then push the other minorities in front of us. Okay? I made several posts about this, man. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, our people that's up in Washington either don't understand or refuse to understand or get paid not to understand. Okay? As you pushing other minorities in front of your own self. We fought for the rights. We died for the rights. We bled for the rights. Now everyone else is eating off the rights. We prepared the table, made the plates, cooked the food. And before we can even sit down and eat the food, everybody else eating. Except us. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's a fact. So what we gotta do? What we gotta do is take the table and flip it over. Flip the table over. Nobody eating until we eat. Straight up.